Welcome to the Anime and Chill podcast.
Hello and welcome to Anime and Chill, and today we're going to be talking about Cowboy Bebop, the legendary show. But first, before we get into Cowboy Bebop, we have to talk about the amazing show that is Uzaki Chan. All right, so Blue, what are your thoughts on the opening and ending music of the show? Like, what did you think of it?
For Uzaki-chan, I wasn't a big fan of like the visuals because I prefer like faster things, but I felt it was pretty average, but it wasn't bad or anything like that. It kind of reminded me of the second opening of Psyche K, but that was a good opening, but it wasn't bad. But I thought they were decent.
Yeah, I'd say the same. It was like, it's an opening. Like, what else can I say? Yeah, it was pretty good. I'd say I like the ending too. It was like pretty peaceful. But it's really nothing too crazy there. I don't know who would think Uzaki-chan's opening was going to be a banger or something. So moving on to the characters. What are your thoughts on the characters?
I think the characters are pretty good. I think my favorite one out of like the ones that are named is Mr. Asai, I think was his name. I don't know, but I feel him with just wanting to watch people's lives unfold. You know?
Was that the coffee shop owner dude? Was it that dude?
Yeah,
he was. Yeah, I like that dude. For me, I don't even really know. Uzaki-chan was she's what you expect. She's just fan service as a character. That's all she really was.
She's serving her purpose.
When she was stuck in the bush and he was trying to pull her out. Oh my God, that moment.
Jeez, poor Shinichi.
Is that the main character's name? Is that his name?
I think that's his name.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have no clue, to be honest. But if we're like really trying to dissect the characters, there's like really nothing there. It's just that's a good thing about the show, and maybe bad thing, of course, to some people. It's just a lighthearted show. There's really nothing. You're just gonna put it on for 20 minutes. You're gonna laugh at it. You don't have to think too much, and that's the beauty of like shows like that. Even though they're pretty just retarded in general. But what did you think about the animation and the soundtrack?
I honestly didn't pay much attention to the soundtrack. It didn't like stick out to me or anything like that.
Same.
The animation isn't bad. It's kind of like, average. I think the character design was okay as well.
I'd say for the animation, I really liked. When I say I really liked, I just liked that average looking style of anime, and it really fits that. But with a 2020 aesthetic, it's just very clean. Colors look nice. The animation looks pretty good. But it's not hard to just have them sitting at a coffee table or whatever they were doing for that day, make that look good. There's not much going on there. So yeah, there's not much to dissect there. Did you have a favorite episode?
I liked episode 2, I think. The thing with the cat, because cat's cute. And, I think that was when the coffee shop thing was like introduced.
Mm-hmm.
I like coffee shop settings. I don't know why. But, out of the 4, I think that one probably was.
Yeah, I'd also have to say episode 2 was my favorite because that's where she got stuck in the bush, I'm pretty sure. So I definitely have to say that's my favorite one. So moving on, story, let's just not even story and plot. There's no story and plot to really dissect there.
It's just a average slice of life with an extra bit of fan service spice.
Yeah.
That rhymed.
So if you want a show that's like funny, you know what you're getting yourself into. It's just a slice of life with a lot of fan service. That's what you're going to get with Uzaki-chan. Nothing special, but you can like it.
It serves its purpose. It's entertaining.
For sure. So I'd recommend it for that if you're looking for that. But if you're not, just stay away. Like, just listen, stay away.
If you're pure of heart, don't go near it.
So moving on to The God of High School, First Impressions. Man, this thing really shocked me. I really enjoyed what I saw of it, man. I really did.
It was epic.
I swear, it was so good. What do you think about the opening and the ending music of the show?
The opening was really cool. I loved the song and the visuals and the overall like aesthetic of it. Like, I loved it almost as much as like Cowboy Bebop opening, which I'll get into like later. But I think this one was my favorite out of the 3 shows that we watched. And the ending, I mean, I like the opening visuals more, but I did like the song and the slice of life style segment and the stuff in the ending.
Yeah.
And I think both of them were pretty good. What about you?
Yeah, I really liked the opening as well for the same reasons. Like the opening was lit. I was like, oh, bet. And it's just the visuals along with the opening is just so crazy.
It was so hype.
Yeah, it fits the show for sure. And the ending was hella chill. They were chilling, popping firecrackers. I don't know what they were doing, but I liked them. I really did like it. So moving on to favorite episode. Which episode was your favorite?
Personally, really liked the first episode. It was an amazing introduction to
Honestly,
the series,
yes.
and that's like the one of the like important parts of a show is you have to like for some shows that I'm into, like the first episode isn't necessarily like the most best introduction, but when they have a good introduction, it just like builds a better experience for the rest of the show, you know?
Yeah, I totally agree. And the first episode of The God of High School, oh my, it was just lit, bro. Like, I cannot stress that enough. The action here is just top notch. I don't really see many shows doing like that type of action. It was so good. Really was. But I don't necessarily know what's going on in the story per se. I do know that
Yeah,
there's these kids, they in this battle and they
just punch at each
yeah,
other.
they're trying to win or something. So I guess that's what's happening. But man, is it so? These fight scenes are just so good. I swear. So moving on, what would you say of the characters? Like, who's your favorite character?
Okay, so if I had to rank the main three, I'd say Han, Mira, and then Mori on the bottom. I think they were all like really good, but I don't know. I think they're very simple character designs, but at the same time they stick out.
Yeah.
I like the nose thing. It's just like a small detail.
Do you see the ears too? Like their ears look so weird. Their ears are like red and like they just look really strange to me. I don't know, that popped out to me. I was like, huh.
It's kind of like they have a cold.
Yeah, like they have a cold. Exactly. That's exactly what it's like. So I'm really bad with names, but if I had to rank the characters, my favorite character for the show is, of course, like, how could it really not be the dude, the main dude?
Mori.
Yeah, like in the second episode, when he jumps in for that one dude that's getting absolutely murdered by that crazy, insane, strong fighter.
I
Yo.
think it was Go.
Yeah,
Oh.
I just got so hyped. I was like, my man just
Dude.
jumped in there. He did not care.
All of the characters were really hyped.
Yes, especially the girl as well. Like I really liked her too, and I'm really interested to see like we saw a little bit of her backstory, but her fighting style is really interesting. Like the sword, the wind style.
Yeah.
It was really interesting, to be honest.
I'm still confused about the power scaling because I don't know, or like not power scaling, but how did she cut that one woman with just her like hand?
Yeah, I don't
like,
know.
The wind from her hand.
Because I remember she did this move on like I think like a bunch of people, and it was just like wind, and they just all like got cooked by just some wind, and I'm just like, okay, guess.
I mean, it's dope.
It's really dope, but
I'd
I'm
like an explanation.
Wind, really? Y'all trained your whole lives to get to be in this fight, maybe, and some wind got y'all. Damn, that's rough. Okay, so moving on. What did you think about the animation and the soundtrack for the show?
Oh, I loved the animation.
So good.
As I said, it was just so cool. I haven't watched anything with like anything similar. Also, I think the fact that it was like a webtoon that was done, I feel like that also like made it the unique style that it is because obviously webtoons are very kind of different from manga.
Right.
And stuff like that since they're already colored and everything like that. I like the ad break segments as well. And the soundtrack, it was very cool and it really fit the mood and aesthetic of the show as a whole.
Yeah, for sure. Like the animation really was just top notch for action type shows. If you want to see just these people just absolutely pounding on somebody, I definitely recommend this show. And the animation just did such a great job with these action scenes, man. It really did.
Yeah, it was so clean.
I swear. Soundtrack just perfectly fit. No complaints whatsoever. So I definitely just enjoyed that so much, to be honest. What was your favorite scene or fight?
Again, the first episode with the chase scene, I really liked that. The chase scene with the motorcycle. It was again epic introductions, and it's just like introduce you into this really fluid, epic sort of animation and scene, and it was really dope.
Yeah.
But that was probably one of my favorites.
I'd say my favorite scene was when my man jumped in there. Whenever that dude was getting absolutely destroyed, and then he jumps in there and saves him.
Yeah, that was a dope moment as well, because, like, I mean, if someone's getting the crap beat out of them, like, it would be immoral not to help.
Right, exactly. And my man just jumped in there. He wanted all the smoke, and he gave it to him.
He didn't care about, like, breaking any rules or anything like that. He just wants a good, like, strong opponents.
He just wanted to fight this dude because he saw what was wrong. Like, he saw what he was doing was wrong, and it was just messed up to watch. So he just jumped in there. He said, screw it. I'm gonna fight this dude. And he did, and he destroyed him. So what do you think about, like, the story? Where do you think it'll go?
So far, I think the story's pretty interesting. Like, I'm very interested in Han's whole deal going on. The one with the black hair, the other guy. Because the ending of the 4th episode, like...
I'm only on the 2nd, just so you know.
Okay. Yeah.
Or now I'm on the 3rd.
I won't say anything.
Something crazy happens?
Yeah, it's just... I can't really say much about it. That's not gonna spoil anything like that. It's just, like, I'm concerned.
Okay. For me, the story is really interesting. Like, so basically these people are just in this tournament. Like, I guess these high school students are in this tournament to become the god of high school. Like, and whoever wins becomes the god of high school. Is that what's going on?
My question is, are they really all in high school?
That's so true. Like that one dude that in the 2nd episode that the main character fights, like that dude is not in high school.
Like,
what?
Yeah, like,
Welcome to anime.
I feel like maybe it also, like, colleges that might be classified as that, or different dojos.
That would make sense.
Is what I'm thinking.
It may just be just a tournament in general. It's probably not just this high school thing. I don't know why they threw the label God of High School, but yeah, there's definitely no way that some of these people are high school students, but whatever. I think it's really interesting, and I want to see where it goes. I really just don't know what it means to be the god of high school, other than probably beating a bunch of people up. So I'm definitely going to stick with the show. The show really surprised me, and I just loved it, to be honest.
Yeah, like, and it also has one of those openings you cannot skip.
Yes, for real. So moving on, Cowboy Bebop. Let's get into it.
Oh, I loved Cowboy Bebop so much.
Same. It was... Man, the show is just, it's got style. It's got the soundtrack. Oh my God.
For 1998, it was great.
Exactly. Okay, maybe in 2020, I'm looking at it and I'm like, okay, it's pretty good, but the animation, of course, is just it's a little rough. But for 1998, like if I saw this 10 years ago, it would still like, dang, that looks pretty good.
It would have blown my mind.
Right, exactly. And the people that animated the show really did an amazing job, because for 1998, man, it definitely holds up. I mean, of course, it doesn't like compare to a 2020 anime, but
Yeah.
You can still respect how well crafted it was for its time. So what did you think about the opening and ending music for the show?
I loved the opening. It was so James Bond and Mission Impossible. It also gave me some early Batman vibes for some reason. I also thought like the solid colors were great, and the song not having any lyrics was different, but in like a good way.
Mm-hmm.
The ending felt much more anime-like, and it was like unlike the entirety of the show almost, because I don't know, the rest of the show could pass as like an American cartoon, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
But like the ending, like it felt very like normal Japanese with like the Japaneses. I don't know what that word is. Yeah.
Yeah, I have to agree. The opening was just, it was so different, but yet so good. And you can't really describe it too much because the song has no lyrics. But when I'm hearing that, I'm hype. I know what time it is. Spike is it's just, man, it's so stylistic and just like gives you a certain type of vibe. And the show really does that throughout, especially with its music.
It is so
Yeah,
good.
I swear it's so good. And the ending as well, I liked it too. I personally like the opening more, but I like the ending as well.
Yeah.
So moving on, the characters. What do you think?
So if I had to rank them, say Edward, Jet, Spike, and then Faye. It's very difficult to like. It just depends. I liked Edward because she was great. I loved her character because she was just all over the place.
Loved her character.
And
So good.
the walking style was hilarious.
Yes.
Jet, I loved the little episodes with Jet. They personally were really cool. And I just think Jet is just generally a cool character. Spike, I thought he was a great character, definitely. I was very intrigued by his story and things like that. And Faye, I love the way they did her backstory as well. I think they're just all my favorite. I can't. It's really hard to rank them.
Yeah, it's really hard to rank them
honestly.
because they're all really good characters with really good backstories. It's just the show does such a good job of like putting you in this universe, like really making you think, okay, what's this dude's backstory? What's this dude's story? Faye especially, I really liked her backstory. Like I did not expect that. Like, hold up, what? She was frozen in time? What's going on? Like,
To be honest, before I got into the show, I knew there was something. I was watching something. They said something about her like backstory in ice, and I wasn't listening to it, so I knew there was like some sort of heavy backstory with her. But like it was still cool to like hear about it, like in detail and see it.
yeah. And for Spike, it was really seeing like his backstory. Like apparently, like when he was saying he sees the past through his left eye, did he actually sees the past in his left eye or no? That was just a metaphor?
I think it was a metaphor because I'm pretty sure because I think one of them's fake.
Yeah, his left eye, or one of his eyes is just like fake. And he would always say that. And then we got to see his backstory. Not his whole backstory, but we got to see a little bit more like that one girl, Julia. I'm pretty sure that was her name.
Spike's backstory was very interesting. I wasn't expecting that kind of backstory for Spike, but it was really cool at the same time.
Yeah. So moving on, what do you think about the animation and the soundtrack for the show?
The animation again was really good for 1998. The fight in the first episode like really like drew me in because like it was a really well done fight scene for like the first episode where I think he pretended to be the drug dealer Spire or something.
Yeah,
I don't know.
dude.
But with the tables and the soundtrack, hands down, the soundtrack was amazing. It was probably my favorite out of all of the soundtracks, like of the shows that we watched.
Definitely. The animation, of course, was really, really good, especially for 1998. It just, like as we said earlier, it's just so good. For that time frame, especially. But one gripe I did have with the show, maybe it's just like a personal preference. It probably is. When they're doing these space battles, to me, it just looks like a black background with some white specks all over the screen. Yeah, I just didn't really like that too much. And I really liked the show when it was on the ground, like when they were, especially in that last sequence of the show where it's like, there's that huge shootout and everything's just going on in like a planet. I didn't really like the space aspect all that much other than them traveling. I really liked it way more when they were on the ground doing stuff because the space battles looked a little strange to me. And for the soundtrack, just so good.
Honestly, I added the playlist of its soundtrack to my list of stuff to listen to because I'm probably just going to be listening to that when I'm doing stuff. It's so good.
It's so good in its own right. Just as music, you could just listen to it, but especially how well crafted it is, like intertwined with these scenes. Like, man, it really makes you just feel what that character's feeling. The music really helps with that. And whoever composed this is a GOAT. They're just, I don't know what to really say. It just fits so well with this show, with the vibe they're trying to give off. And I just loved it so much. So moving on, what's your favorite episode of Cowboy Bebop?
I had a few, like episode 10 and 16, which were both Jet episodes. I loved, like, I just love more Jet content. And episode 17, because watching the Bebops trip balls was fantastic. And the Edward-centered episode was amazing.
For me, I think my favorite episode would probably have to be, I really don't know, honestly. I really liked the first episode. I thought it was really interesting. And honestly, the show went a way different direction than I thought. I didn't know much about Cowboy Bebop, but I thought there would maybe be more of an intertwined story of them like trying to set out to do something, but it really isn't that type of show. It's really, we got my man Spike, we got Jet, we got Faye, we got Ed, and the dog, and they're just out on these space adventures. That's really what they're doing.
It was really good. I didn't expect it, but it was great.
Do you remember the episode where, oh my god, that episode. Apparently, like, Spike left something in the fridge, and then
Dude, I wrote that down
Oh
for
my
my
God.
favorite scene or moment because the ending was hilarious.
yes,
Like they're just all floating around with stuff and the music playing in the background. I was
that
dying.
episode was so freaking funny.
I had read like the first volume back like a couple years ago, and the only thing I remembered from it was Ed. So I'm glad though that I didn't remember anything else because it was a great experience just like watching it.
What did you think about the story and like the plot of the show?
I loved the plot. The episodical bad guys were great, and one thing I actually liked about it's not like related to the plot, but I liked how the episode titles were all cultural references or song names from like Queen, AC/DC, Kiss, and I think there was even some from Aerosmith. I used to listen to those bands a lot, and I still do.
Mhm.
And I was surprised to see the song titles in the like episode things.
Mm.
But I feel like the plot as a whole, like it was really good, and I don't know, it just felt, I don't know, it was also very diverse
Yeah,
as well.
it was definitely. It kind of, it's really different from a lot of shows I've seen, and that's why I think Cowboy Bebop is so special to a lot of people, is because of how original it really is and how much it really stands out compared to a lot of shows. Because you can tell with this show, like, they're not trying to copy nobody. They're not trying to, they did their own thing. And I really liked how there was these different enemies per se for a lot of the episodes, and especially one I really liked was this one dude. I forget his name, but it was the fight at the Funland Park, you know, the theme park thing.
Oh, the guy that reminds me of Penguin.
Yes, that dude. That fight, I think that was like one of my favorite episodes, was that sequence. And just the aesthetic of the whole theme park, and just he gets crushed by a giant animatronic walking dog thing. Like, yes.
Yeah, like
Awesome.
dang.
It was so cool.
Like that scene was really really cool. I was intrigued by all of the bad guys because they all had like their reasonings. Okay, can we count that one annoying cowboy guy as an antagonist?
Yes. Please.
He triggered me so much.
Like, I was like, what is this fool doing? Like, what is he? I don't even know what's up with
Just
that
like
dude.
let Spike do his job, man.
Honestly. Because
Go back to your rich boy
was
ranch.
he a bounty hunter? Like, what was he up to? What was he doing?
I think he was like, I know he was a rich guy and he was trying to be a bounty hunter. And then, yeah, he just wanted to because he thought that he could or something. I don't know. I'd have to go back and rewatch it, but I don't want to.
Yeah, it is frustrating to see that guy, to say the least. So, what would you give Cowboy Bebop, like a rating out of 10, with 5 being average?
I'd give it a 10, honestly. It was so good.
I gotta agree, it's definitely up there for me. I'm a little bit like harder on the shows, but an 8 on my scale is just like really, really good shows. It didn't quite hit that. I don't think I'm quite as high on it as other people. Maybe that's because I was a little bit lost at some points of the show, like, because yes, I think it was awesome to go on all of these different like adventures with these characters. How the show is so different, and so you never know what you're getting with each episode, basically. Maybe that's not the best thing at the same time. Like, who was this dude? Who was vicious? Who was this dude? We didn't dive too much into that. Apparently him and Spike were buddies, but we only really got to see that in like a flashback of him and Vicious. I don't even know. They were like holding guns and they were like back to back, and I was like, okay.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that could have been fleshed out more. I mean, personally, I'm not very strict with my scale, but like, if I was to compare it to other shows, it would probably be a little bit lower down. But as a whole, I feel like it was really good on its own.
Definitely.
Personally,
It definitely makes sense why this show is so just highly regarded, to say the least. I definitely agree with that. And I really liked it.
I have huge soft spots for like older animes. So
So I definitely respect that rating. I definitely think this show's worthy of it. Just, man, Cowboy Bebop is just a vibe for me. Like, just that universe, these characters, all these different people and villains with all their own ideologies and just what they're trying to do. It's just crazy. Yeah, that's our thoughts on Cowboy Bebop. For the next episode of Anime and Chill, what are we gonna be watching?
Well, I'll be watching Kill la Kill,
Yes.
and you will be watching Devil is a Part-Timer,
Yes.
and we will both be watching Japan Sinks 2020.
Yeah, and Japan Sinks 2020 really intrigues me just because that sounds crazy, like a giant earthquake going on. Like, yo, I'm gonna have to watch that. I'm gonna have to watch a giant earthquake just destroying a city. I have to watch that. Kill la Kill, I've seen it. You haven't, so I'm really excited for you to see it. I really loved that show.
I watched the first 2 episodes last night, and it's pretty good so far.
Yeah, I really like that show, to be honest. And The Devil is a Part-Timer. Never seen it. I haven't. But you have. And I'm really interested to see what it's gonna be like.
I mean, it's a pretty good slice of life, and there's also some like action and fights in there as well. So
Okay. So yeah, I'm really excited to see what The Devil is a Part-Timer has in store for me. So that's what you guys can expect next episode. If you guys have any questions, leave them down in the comments. But thank you so much for listening. If you're listening on iTunes, please give us a rating. It would mean a lot. And yeah, we love you. We're out.